Strategy Show. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Joined once again by Sean Newsham, PSU fans too. Today to talk about some random stuff while we watch Brazil-Switzerland. Sean, there have been some crazy score lines today. So I'm fully expecting Brazil-Switzerland to be scoreless as we watch it here with each other. The end of the South Korea game, I think, was an unbelievable tragedy for those who love drama, that they weren't allowed to take the last corner, and everybody's like, it was enough time, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like the point of not having a specific clock that starts and ends throughout the match is to build drama like that, and we were just robbed of it.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the last 35 minutes of that game. I haven't watched as much the last couple days just because I've been busy with things. So I haven't really watched it. By the way, Laird, let's see where we're at time wise. I'm at 105 right now.
I'm at 10. Yeah, I'm like 2 seconds behind you.
Oh, that's perfect then. So I'll slightly spoil you and everything. Perfect. But yeah, I've not watched every game. I've watched every game until the last couple days. Then I've just not been able to watch a couple games, with the exception of I'll tell you what, I picked out the two turds in the first round of match days, and I took a nap during the Mexico Poland game in the first set.
Oh, and then, that one was brutal.
I was Uruguay, South Korea. I'm I am good on that one too, and did not watch it. But I watched the last 40 minutes of that game today, and Korea sent in 85 crosses. I was shocked we didn't see an equalizer in that game for Korea.
It was, I really couldn't either. It was exactly what you want at an end of a game like that. Just pure, oh my gosh, what could happen? And yeah, like I said, robbed of the moment that we all really wanted to see.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's been some good games. There's been some good moments. It was nice to see Messi win. I enjoyed seeing Enzo be the GOAT that he is. There's just been I just sit here every day and I'm just watching. I'm oh my God, this coach is a moron. And it's every day. It's how are you starting Guido Rodriguez instead of Enzo?
Over Enzo?
I just don't understand. We'll talk about the USA, I'm sure, in this stream. I watching, it's Greg Berhalter, the first game, just begged to bring on Gio Reyna.
Yeah.
The entire second half.
Yeah.
Then he lies about it after the game and says that he was injured, which he was not.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're sitting there playing a totally not totally meaningless, but mostly meaningless game against England, which, don't get me wrong, I was very happy. I thought the United States were clearly the better team in that game. I don't even think that there's much question about it.
Agreed.
It was pretty clear cut. And it's a pretty meaningless game, though, and we don't make a sub until the 78th minute. And the United States does not have depth. The gap between some guys down to the next person is massive.
Yeah.
So watching that, I'm just I don't know. I just watched all these games, and I'm just oh my God, these decisions are so stupid. Did you see England's going to sit Bellingham tomorrow? They're going to sit Jude. They're going to sit Jude Bellingham for Jordan Henderson.
But before we get to that, I just want to touch on the USA thing. The USA-England game was not meaningless. It was risk-free.
It was mostly meaningless.
But if the US won, that's a huge result.
Yeah, but if they lose,
losing didn't matter. But winning would have been huge.
Yeah.
And so you go for the win. Just go for the win.
You go. There was some tweets out there. The best tweet was, you go for the win with a rotated side.
I did see that. I agreed with
that. You go for the win with a rotated side. Let's say you start, and so here's part of the equation, right? With the USA, I'm pretty sure, and this goes for every team in the tournament, realistically, but I think most teams are hey, this is our starting lineup, and then they're not going to change it as the day goes with the results that happen. But the problem with it is that's just too rigid, and that shouldn't happen. But for example, I think we both would agree that the difference in quality between Sergiño Dest and either DeAndre Yedlin or Shaq Moore is massive.
Massive.
So you have Dest, a guy that really can't play 90s as it is, and a guy that is injured almost as much as Gio Reyna, and you're just out there running him into the ground. in a pretty meaningless game. Like play Shaq Moore or Yedlin from the start. And then if you are if you're in a close game, like then you bring someone on. And like I think like Pulisic, if you're going to play Pulisic, take him off at 60. If you're not going to play Pulisic, sit there. If you guys are tied at 60 minutes, bring on Pulisic, try to get a win. Similarly, like I don't understand what the United States is doing not playing Jesus Ferreira. I thought he's been very clearly the best striker option for the entirety of the last like 2 or 3 years. And it's nothing against Haji, right? Like he just doesn't fit right now with what we're trying to do. So it's like, all right, Haji, you've never started a game for the USA. Get in there, baby, and run.
So I think the other thing that you're overlooking is that we had so many guys on yellows.
Yes.
From the first game, and obviously 2 yellows, you're suspended for the third. Like, why would you roll them out in that game?
Yes.
Like it did feel like a perfect situation to rotate everyone. And now it's like you need everyone at 100% for the final game because you have to win.
Correct. And I will say I think there was very clear instructions not to take any unnecessary fouls in the game against England because I don't think there was a card in that game. I'm not sure.
No, there wasn't.
Card.
Or I don't think there was. What was kind of interesting is I couldn't tell if they were playing like that, like the don't really foul that hard because you're going to get a card, or if the referee was kind of like letting a little more happen just because he knew like there were a ton of guys on yellows, which like probably is not the case there.
Yeah.
Speaking of interesting managerial decisions, we have this Brazil game, Neymar not in because of the ankle injury, likely out until the knockout rounds. And in comes Fred.
Yep.
Like for like. So I see no problem here. And Brazil good to go.
Well, to be fair, I actually think it made the most sense because they wanted to run a 4-3-3, I'm pretty sure. The issue was that they had both Vinny and they had Neymar. And there was rumors before the first game that Vinny wasn't going to start, which would have been absolutely absurd.
Wild.
And wild. So like they basically moved Neymar to Cam and it worked. It was fine. And I'm just like, I think their plan is like, they're like Neymar got injured. Like, all right, we can just run Vinny and run Fred. And that's what they wanted to do. So Rascal talks about the Jude thing and he's like, resting Jude makes total sense. Only a freak result means we don't make it out. Yes, but that means there's a chance you don't make it out. And not making it out is not good for anybody that is expected to make it out. So you just don't put yourself in a risk of not making it out and you prioritize whatever you have to do to make it out. So for example, if the US or if England won that game against the USA, I would have rotated everyone and their mom in this game. It wouldn't have mattered. But like it's not as freak of a result as it was.
Yeah.
It's not like that freak of a result. Like it is. Both Wales and USA would have to like win by putting up some goals. Or just actually, it doesn't even matter. Wales would just have to win by putting up goals. And if Wales won by putting up like 3-0, they're gone. And like, obviously it's like a 5% chance thing to happen, but it's still
Wales scoring 3 is 5%. We're giving him that much,
like 2%. So
sorry, Harry trades.
poor Harry. Like Wales has definitely been the worst team in that group. To be fair, USA's probably been the best team in that group. Maybe not. England was really good against Iran the first game.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that was luck. Like they were good. England was very good in that game. They weren't good like 6-goal up against Iran good. And they definitely gave up some goals as well.
Yeah. The best troll line that I saw was that Yunus Musa played so well in that England game that Gareth Southgate had to bench Bellingham because he just like took Bellingham completely out of it. Don't bring in Jordan Henderson.
Musa was very good. Let's go over the most surprising thing for the U.S. men's national team.
Tim Reed, baby.
Arguably the best player on that team in this term. The only person I think you could make an argument for. So my like man of the match first game was Tyler Adams. I think it wasn't close. You and I talked.
He's been amazing.
Tyler Adams has been fantastic both games. And the first game, Tyler Adams was absolutely unbelievable. Game 2, I think Tim Reed was our best player. I think he was the best player. I think he was our second best player in the first game. I think Adams was our second best player in the second game. So it's just a pretty funny situation. And as you know, I've obviously been a non-believer in Tim Ream forever. So kudos to him. I ate some crow on that. Did you also eat that crow?
Everyone did. Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I don't want to say everyone. I will give credit to the Ranks FC guys because I was listening to one of their podcasts before the World Cup. And I think it was actually before the teams were announced. Ream was like basically guaranteed to go. But they were talking about like the US center backs. And they were like, two of them are Fulham supporters. So they were like, Ream has to go. He's been like great. He's been great this season in the Premier League, which is like obviously a huge deal for any player, let alone one for the US men's national team. And I'm listening to them and I'm like, no, that can't be the case. And he's been awesome. He really has been. And frankly, like Zimmerman, other than that bonehead penalty, has been pretty good too.
Yeah, I mean, Zimmerman has also been good. I agree. The penalty was very boneheaded. And, I will say, everyone that was complaining about, like, the ball being out of bounds and stuff, like, it didn't matter. I mean, it did, but it didn't. Like, we were so horrid in that second half. We deserved to concede anyways. Big thanks. The degenerate investor he said he's gotten into Sorare because of the Global Cup and been grinding our videos. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And he's slowly putting together a team now to compete in other competitions. That's great to hear. That's exactly what you want to hear. And then he also
we got one.
Yeah, that's what you want. And then he also asked if we have seen a big bump during the World Cup in terms of views. We actually have. I don't know if you've noticed, Laird, but you usually check this stuff. But I think our videos have been a bit higher over the last couple weeks comparatively to what they normally on. So that's also good to see. Like we've been in here we go, Laird. I actually told you, I think that I thought our 250. Oh no, I thought our SorareData strategy show in regards to the Global Cup would be our most viewed show ever. It's not, but the last three shows I think have been all very highly viewed from what we normally see.
Yeah, it's been nice. What's fun is that like we basically focused on a free game so I think maybe there are just more people interested, but we're getting more people viewing that 251. That's like how to really get into it. And I think for people who don't watch these regular or kind of new to Sorare, like most of our strategy show conversations are basically like evergreen content. Like this is only applicable for this game week or this month. Prices obviously change. Although frankly, if you watch something 3 months ago, prices look pretty cheap now versus what we were quoting back then. But yeah. So yeah, thank you to the degens out there who are joining us. Yeah. I like this question from Sam here, who our favorite Brazil players are to watch. Not necessarily Sorare related.
Am I allowed to say Neymar, or is that not allowed at the moment?
I think it's fine.
I mean, it's definitely for me. It's Neymar and it's Vinny Jr. But I like most everyone that they run out there. Like I enjoy watching Casemiro. I enjoy watching Richarlison. I enjoy watching Rafinha. Like most of the Brazilian players are fun.
It's a fun team. Like
it's a fun team that's good and talented. I generally will enjoy guys like that for the most part.
Yeah, mine's Fred.
I mean, that makes sense that yours would be.
I give Fred a hard time, although back in the DFS days, I used to be a Fred stan, so I don't want to say too much about. I'm not going to be negative about Fred. It's a little disappointing that we couldn't get a Fred picture here.
That would have been a good. That would have been a good like backdrop of the show. Yeah. Like I just think that like most everyone's pretty fun on this team. Like there's really not anyone that you're like, oh, this guy's annoying and sucks. Like I'll tell you what team's annoying is watching Argentina. Like everyone before the World Cup was all about Rodrigo de Paul. All about
everyone.
And my God. The World Cup, and they then realized like, oh, he's been playing at Atletico Madrid. He now has no offensive abilities whatsoever and sucks. And he's been dreadful.
So what's funny about that team is that I feel like every time there's like a break in like big competitions, like when there's no Copa or World Cup or whatever, we forget like that the rest of the team other than Messi really isn't that great. Like I think people think it's like, oh, it's like Brazil, but like you look at this Brazil team and everyone is great.
Yeah.
And you look at the Argentina team and you're like, oh, they have the best player ever. And they have some guys that are like good, but nobody that's like outstanding.
Yeah.
And then they lose to Saudi Arabia and you're like, how could they? And then you look at the team and you're like, you're right. It's not that great.
And that's always the answer with Argentina, right? Every international tournament for like the last decade has been that, except for I think they have more talent and ability now. The issue is that talent and ability is young and they're refusing to play it. So like their new talent is like Lissandra, who they played after game one. Enzo Fernandez, who's been a massive difference maker. Even the first game, Enzo was quite a difference maker. And then the other one is obviously Julian Alvarez. But like you look at it and like Lautaro's great. Like, I thought in the first game, obviously he was offsides a couple times. Dude put like 5 balls in the back of the net and they were like really good finishes. He was just like a hair offsides every time, which like I'm obviously like that is something, but also like if you're offside by like an inch 5 times, I'm not going to be like, oh, you suck. I'm going to be like, all right, that's a little bit unlucky.
Yeah, unlucky. Yeah.
5 times by an inch. But yeah, you look at it, you're like, all right, they got the corpse of Angel Di Maria. They have Rodrigo De Paul, who hasn't done anything offensively in like 3 years because he's just been like buried into the ground. Running Paredes, like whatever. The corpse of Papu Gomez. Like both their wingers are like as old as you.
Yeah, it is wild to like go into a tournament thinking that you're one of the favorites and you're throwing out Di Maria and Papu Gomez on your wings. Like, come on.
And then you're like, it's just, and then you look at the bench here. You look at like what came on: Lissandro, Enzo, Julian Alvarez. There's some talent there. Like I understand not playing people, and I understand not starting Enzo game one because he hasn't had tons of experience with this team yet. In terms of the national team. And typically, like, it's hard for a guy to come in and just break in right away with the national team. Like, they generally will play some qualifiers, some friendlies, some games, and then, like, they're in the squad, and then they are considered. So I get it. But, like, you can't run Guido Rodriguez when you have Enzo. Like, Enzo is their best midfielder. Enzo Fernandez is the best midfielder Argentina has. And I'm not saying that, I don't think, from a biased perspective. I'm saying that from what they need their midfielder to do. Enzo is the best guy. Like, Enzo is the dude to be filling that role, and he's just not doing it thus far.
Yeah, I feel like Enzo is one of the classic examples of a player that most people have never heard of, but because of Sorare, we're really familiar with him. And so when you're like, no, they should play Enzo over Guido Rodriguez, and everyone who like doesn't follow, they're like, he's barely been here. Like, how do you just like throw him in? We also can't overlook that like Enzo really hasn't been Enzo for like more than a calendar year. Like, he was just a kid at River Plate a year ago.
Yeah, so here's a funny for you, which you'll get a kick out of. Everyone else will get a kick out of it, but they won't fully understand. Everyone's gonna be like, wait, how is that possible? Whereas you're gonna laugh and be like, yep, that makes sense. So as you know, like I do for Roto Grinders, a lot of projections and stuff in regards to the World Cup. And I've been close call there for Richarlison. I think also before I get into this combo, like I think Richarlison has a pretty good shot at winning Golden Boot in this tournament if he can score a goal or two here today, because I think that if he can score a goal and they play him in game week 3 of the group stage, I think he's got a shot at a Golden Boot, because a lot of people that I think are going to go far in the tournament aren't really producing in terms of goals. I think it's probably Mbappe is the favorite right now, but I think Charlie has a chance. So anyway, so we've been doing daily shows, and we do projections, and then we answer Discord questions and whatnot. And obviously, as a DFS player, I knew a lot about soccer, but as a Sorare player, I know so much more about soccer than I ever knew as a DFS player. So before game day 1 for the tournament, like the full game day, not the Qatar opener against Ecuador, we did our show, and we're like, nobody knows who Cody Gakpo is, and he's probably one of the best players in this tournament in terms of what you can expect from a DFS perspective. Because for those unfamiliar with DFS, like, Gakpo has been very good from an SO5 perspective. He's even better from a DFS perspective. Like his game from a DFS perspective is even more favorable. So
it's perfect for DFS.
It's perfect for DFS. And we went into the discussions in Discord like those first days. And they're like, well, who do you guys think is going to be like good for Netherlands? Like Depay's not playing. They have this Gakpo guy starting. I've never heard of him. And so we're just sitting there like, guys, you're going to find out who Cody Gakpo is pretty soon because
just play him. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, he's the best player on the slate. They're like, really? I've never even heard of the guy. And it's like, yeah, no, he's going to be the best player on this team in terms of what you can expect. And same thing, like we talked on the show, it didn't happen, but we're like, Enzo Fernandez should be starting for Brazil. And if he starts,
Argentina,
everyone will be very impressed by him. So I think that it's interesting checking stuff from a DFS perspective versus a Sorare perspective, because like we just know so many more of these guys that are younger that play in leagues that aren't the like if you don't play in the Champions League or the Premier League, DFS players don't know who they are. So like anyone that plays for like Benfica, Feyenoord, and stuff like that, like they have no idea who these people are. And as we know, like they can be some pretty good players, especially for national, like Kudus. No one knew who Mohamed Kudus was. And look, Kudus is mediocre for Ajax. He's just sort of like they get him on the field and that's it. And you expect like less from him than anyone else in the
right?
But like going here, like he takes sets for them. He takes sets for Ghana. Like he's a massive important player for Ghana, and people don't know who he is because he just doesn't feature very often. So it's pretty cool. Trippin' B has shown up. He's congratulating me on my beard. Yeah, it's probably got another week or two before I go get the haircut. I haven't had time. We talk about this. Like I'm on a strict like don't leave the house schedule most of the time, and I haven't had time to leave the house in the last like 3 weeks. So I do need to go get a haircut and a shave. Probably in the next like 2 or 3 weeks, I'll make that happen and we'll remove the beard. It's actually so like I grow in white on both sides. Like if you look, like I grow in like white due to obviously oldness, but it used to grow in orange, Laird.
Huh.
So my beard used to grow like mostly black, but then it would grow like orange in like these areas.
That's silly.
Because I'm part Irish, so like it would grow in orange. So like my beard would be like 2 different colors.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun. Sean, who has been the most disappointing team for you in this tournament?
Belgium by far.
That's what I was going to say.
I don't think it's close. I feel really bad Canada didn't get to win that first game because they were so far. Belgium has been so mediocre. Did you see the comments that Kevin De Bruyne made and then Vertonghen made?
I did not.
So apparently De Bruyne said something about like how they can't win the World Cup because they're too old. And then after the 2-0 loss last game, Vertonghen was quoted as saying something along the lines of like, I wonder if we can't score any goals because we're too old as well. Or like, I wonder if our offense is too old. But yeah, unfortunately, the Belgian team has just been abysmal. It's not even like they've like, so Argentina against Saudi Arabia, like they lost, right? But like they were the dominant team. They were up the butt of Argentina, or they were up the butt of Saudi Arabia. Like when they were trailing, they were getting chances and having opportunities to score. Belgium got dominated by Canada.
Yeah,
dominated. So I think it's Belgium. I don't think it's close. And I will say that, like, I mean, I guess I should look through the table. Let me look through the World Cup table here. I think that the Netherlands have been a little underwhelming. I thought Ecuador was pretty impressive. Ecuador was the better team against the Netherlands. And then obviously they're a better team against Qatar. And Senegal was pretty good against the Netherlands too. So like I expect the Netherlands to be by far the class of that group, and it just didn't happen. England was exactly what I thought they were going to be. They were going to be dull and probably get through.
That first game felt a little un-England-like.
It was, but the problem was like those goals they were scoring were like Jude with a glancing header from the top of the box, and then like a wonder strike from Sterling, and then like another wonder strike, and it's like, all right, and that I
say scoring 6 is if you said like they'll score 6 in the tournament, you'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, like I don't want to take away from the fact they were very good in the game against Iran, because they were very good in the game against Iran. But like 6-2 score line was not a like representation of the of the game, in my opinion. So I think that there was like the game against USA is exactly what I expected England to be. That's why when we went through the draws, I wanted England out of group pot one if you weren't going to get Qatar, because they're just dull. They just lose games and don't score. And against the USA, like the USA struggles with creativity and class and like us and pace. England has pace, but they don't use it. Like Sterling's pacey, but they don't use him as pacey, and they have absolutely no creativity, like whatsoever. So like that's why I wanted the USA to draw England, and I didn't expect the USA to dominate the game, but I knew that was a team from pot one that like USA could get a result against. Whereas like if they played Argentina, Messi would just destroy.
Yeah, just destroy. Yeah.
And then Group C, Poland was the exact sort of dull force I expected them to be. They're probably going to get through, which is I expected them and Argentina to go through. I expected them to be incredibly dull and advance by beating Saudi Arabia and getting a result against Mexico was pretty much what I expected. And that's what happened so far. Mexico isn't very good. Argentina, I think, probably will advance, but we'll have to wait and see if they can get a result against Poland because it's not a definitive. Poland definitely has the ability to like keep that tight. France has been what I expected from them. I think Tchouaméni has been really good.
He has been,
which has been pretty important for them because that they really were lacking that. Obviously,
they needed him to be good.
Yeah, Lucas Hernandez got hurt. It probably helped them. Good ball. Vinny's got to do better with that.
You got to do better. Yep.
Yeah. Close chance there. Good cross in from the right side. Vinny's got to do better with that. Who sent that in? Was it Rafinha?
Probably Fred. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Rafinha. It was a great ball by Rafinha. Great vision. I mean, Vinny's got to do better with that. He completely lost Widmer, I think, on the right. That's not Widmer. Is it Widmer?
No, Summer. Was that it was like off his knee.
Yeah, it was off his knee. He like sort of shanked the shot. It was good. It was a good chance. So
those shots are so hard in real life.
Yeah, they are. They are. For sure. Looks like Rafinha is taking all the set pieces so far, which I sort of expected. I thought Fred could be on something too. Also weird, yeah. Like Adair is on at right back for them with the injury they had.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see Adair playing at right back. So yeah, France has been what I expected. Australia, they're terrible. I mean, they got lucky with the win. The two worst teams in the tournament, I think, got a win.
Yeah.
Which is shocking because I think Australia is one of the two worst teams in the tournament. I expect Mexico to beat them. The issue for Mexico is that they gave up 2 in that game, and then Poland scored 2. So Mexico is likely going to have to go for it and score goals in this game. So Mexico is going to have to really press, and I find that hard to believe them doing it. France has been what I expected. Denmark's been a bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
Not totally. Like I expected them to lose to France. The game against Tunisia, I thought Tunisia was quite good. The Denmark had chances. They just couldn't convert on them. Realistically speaking, like I assume Australia gets wrecked by the French B team. And as long as Denmark or Tunisia win, they will I expect Denmark's basically playing like win in advance. In that game because I expect them to beat Australia and they should beat them pretty easily. And then Group E, Spain looked great in the first game. It was a good game against Germany.
Spain was the team that I thought would disappoint the most. I thought Spain wouldn't make it out of the group.
Is that because like 1, they can't score because Morata, and then 2, because they just have everyone's so young?
It's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Too young, and if you're like relying on Morata to score, like I think that's basically been the biggest problem with Belgium too.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like with no Lukaku, you need to score goals. You don't have to score a ton, but like you need to score. And like that was the problem with Denmark. Like they don't have like an elite 9 that like they can get ahead. And like Poland, like they have Lewandowski, but he's usually awful when he plays for Poland. So like if you can't get like a reasonable number 9 in front, like you're gonna struggle. And Spain just like slapped that in my face in the first game.
Yeah, they did. But then the game against Germany was pretty good. Both teams got a result. Germany against Japan. Japan was really good in that game. I thought Germany was okay, and Japan was really good.
Japan was really
One
good.
of the most baffling decisions of the entire tournament to me was Japan's rotation in game 2. That was rough.
I still don't understand it.
No. It's going to see them out of the tournament. Like, they just get a win there against the worst team. the second worst team in the tournament, they advance.
They advance, yeah.
And no doubt. So I just don't understand that. And then Costa Rica, they suck. That game against
so
Spain was
bad.
the worst game I've seen in a long time in any format. Like everyone just stood there. They just stood there the entire game. And like that might be okay against some teams, but like you are just standing there as Spain is just passing all game. And if Spain is passing all game with absolutely no pressure, they're gonna win.
Yeah.
So that game was absolutely pathetic. And the fact that they then got a win against Japan is wild to me. I think they still will get wrecked, obviously, by Germany, but I don't know what that was. So
I picked Germany and Japan to get out of that group. I'm pretty sure.
It makes sense. I totally believe that. I mean, Japan is solid. Like one thing we know about Japan is they're going to be solid. No matter what, they'll be solid. They might not, which is probably why they lost to Costa Rica, because they are solid, but they might struggle against scoring goals. But they'll be compact and disciplined and put together well. And like they have quite a bit of talent on that team, honestly, that some people just don't know or acknowledge.
That team is a classic. So like we know them because of Sorare.
Correct. And that's also a team that it's also a team that like it just has more talent than people understand.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if that's like a Sorare perspective too. It's just like every time you're in one of these tournaments, Japan is better. Japan and Korea are typically better than what people are envisioning every single time, because they usually are compact and they usually defend well. And they're usually like well disciplined as a team, which is important in a competition like this.
Yeah.
Group F, we talked about Belgium. Pathetic. They deserve to be out of the tournament. Hopefully they go out. Honestly, like I want to see them go out.
Like this team is dead for the Euros and the next World Cup.
Oh, totally dead. Like they don't have enough in the hopper to make up for this. I don't. It's dreadful watching. Like
somebody made the joke that like their golden generation from a decade ago is still is these guys. Like nobody's been added, and
yeah, which is, I mean, it just is what it is. Croatia has been impressive. I think Croatia's been good. They went down 1-0 yesterday, and they showed they're like. Did you see all the quotes between the coach and then Kramaric?
Yes,
those were great, but they've been doing it without Modric dominating the games, which is, I mean, he's the guy. So it's been impressive for Croatia. I always like Croatia because to me, in these international tournaments, the teams that usually do well are the teams that have a midfield that is very good, because these guys don't play together all that often. And typically teams will park the bus and just sort of make you beat them by passing and creating a goal. The best way to do that is obviously if your midfielders are capable of doing that. It's hard to have a better midfield in this tournament than Modric, Brozovic, and Kovacic. Like that's just hard to come out with. Like you look at all of these teams and they just don't match that. And then like, yes, they struggle to score, which is that's been their problem for a while. Like they don't have elite finishing and they don't have that elite playmaker, but they are good enough to keep these games tight and do stuff. And then Canada, I feel bad for Canada.
Me too.
They were impressive though. Like I don't think any Canadian fan should be disappointed. They came to play the first game. They were incredibly impressive. They should have came away with a win.
They should have won. Yeah.
Obviously, like the game against Croatia was a bit difficult, but Croatia is the reigning runner-up in the World Cup. Like Croatia is a very, very good team.
Very good team.
So that's that. And then this group, or the Brazil group. So I think Serbia is better than what they've indicated so far. They obviously have gone through the Brazil game, which was difficult. I hate that Serbia didn't get a win today. I would have liked to see Serbia get a win because I think they're a decent team. And now it's going to be difficult to advance. They're going to need to beat Switzerland in the last game of the group and probably have to do it by scoring a couple goals, depending how this result shows. Yeah. And then Brazil obviously lose Neymar, which we'll talk about in a little bit here when we go through like global cup strategies and like what's happening with that. But everyone in that group's kind of performing. Like they gave us one of the better games of the tournament today, which unfortunately I was asleep for. But 3-3 game must have been a pretty exciting game, so that was good. And then Portugal group, we saw your boy Ron score his penalty per usual.
That's not the boy I thought you were going to say.
Well, your other boy Joao,
there we go,
goated his brains out. So that was good to see. I actually enjoyed that as well.
How could you not enjoy it, Sean?
You got to enjoy Joao getting a goal. Diego Costa almost had the blunders of the tournament. That was rough.
It's funny because like everyone was obviously relieved to see him starting, like everybody who bought him and chose him, since there was like he was not 100%. He was probably more than 50, but he was definitely not 100.
Yeah.
And so he's in, and everyone's like, "Oh, thank God!" Yeah. And then that blunder, or blunder.
Yeah, Ruben Diaz bailed him out.
Yeah,
hard bailed him out. Oh, our boy Tuggy shows up just as we're talking about William Carvalho. So locked in midfielder William Carvalho. He did not start, but he was actually pretty good in the game. I expect he might start today. Here's a question for you, Laird. Does Diego Costa start today?
Yes, but I don't know. Hopefully not. I don't have him, so I'd love to see all those lineups go down.
Yeah, I will be interested to see if Diego Costa. All my lines are dead for this week anyway, so it does not matter to me. But I'm interested to see if Diego Costa gets together. So Bastian just said,
I was going to say we should talk about this because I have a very easy response to this.
Yeah, so the midfield argument is not matching German national team results. Kimmich, Gundogan, and Goretzka are quite good. Performance of the team is not. So Laird, you can give me the idea there. You can give me the excuse you have.
They don't have a 9.
They don't have a 9. They also struggle defensively and give up goals. They've done this for quite a while. Also, they didn't play Goretzka in the first game. So they're not playing the guys that they necessarily should be playing.
Yeah.
And the issue for them is typically the lack of finishing. And then also on the back end, they give up way too many leaky goals. It's been the German issue since the Euros, where they struggled as well.
I mean, the issue is they already couldn't have been that great, because when Timo Werner goes down and everyone's like, "Oh, that's a huge loss," and like, I mean, Timo Werner's not that great.
Nicholas Füllkrug was their savior,
right? Exactly.
Like Nicholas Füllkrug. Like,
yeah,
I guarantee if we like poll a good chunk of people that are watching this show, they don't even know what team he plays for. And well, at least our boy Kai Havertz didn't start again. Oh wait, he did in the first game. He almost got to 35. One of these days, he'll like actually have an AA above 0, but he still sucks, obviously, as you know. But like, they just really, really struggle. Yeah, it's shocking that like the game where Kai Havertz doesn't play, they get a result. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, Laird. What do you think?
It's a hell of a coincidence. The lack of Jonas Hoffman playing has been very tilting for me personally.
First game. Yeah, so Blue Tomato says Füllkrug is class. I'm not saying anything negative about Füllkrug, but Füllkrug does not have a plethora of appearances for the German national team, and he is also not young. Like, Füllkrug's almost 30. So like, that's an issue. It's just Germany has a lot of issues and they just can't figure them out. Whereas like the reason the Croatian midfield works so well is that like they have been together forever. The Croatian midfielders have just played together forever, which like you can say about Kimmich and Goretzka. Obviously, like they play a lot with Bayern together, so like that is something. But there's just something to be said about some of these teams that like they play together forever, and like the amount of game time you get as a national team is minimal. So when you play a lot of games together as a unit, it's very helpful.
Yeah, Chani brings up this point that like Havertz doesn't know what his best position is. What was weird is that like towards the end of his time at Leverkusen, like he was playing a bit more of a 9, and it kind of worked.
Yeah.
And then he went to Chelsea and it just was like, it just disintegrated. And then like he plays the 9. Now he's playing the 9 for Germany because Werner's out. And it's just like he's like forgotten how to play it. But
I'm going to assume Füllkrug starts the next game, but maybe not. I don't know what they're going to start in the final game. I mean, whoever they start probably won't score. I know that.
Yeah,
It's been frustrating.
Leroy Sané with one of the misses of the tournament, but like he at least brought a little bit more excitement. And
Speaking of
he hasn't started, I don't
rotational
think, right?
situations, the Swiss just benched Shaqiri. They basically are saying, we don't care about this game at all. We know we can maybe get a point against you, and that's cool, but we probably are not going to beat you, so we're going to save him and rest him for the final game of the group.
Not a terrible strategy.
No, I totally buy into that. I'm glad to actually see someone doing a strategy that makes sense compared to the other teams. And then last couple teams to talk about, Ghana was good to see them get a result today. They deserved it. It was unfortunate to see South Korea lose, though. I would have liked to see them in the knockouts, which is going to be a bit difficult now for them to get through. But they have a puncher's chance against Portugal. The game later today should be pretty dull, I think, because Uruguay just defends pretty well, and they just are very, very not going to be doing much offensively.
Yeah.
So I think that it will be interesting to see what happens. So, all right, let's talk about Global Cup, Laird, and strategies. I know we talked about stuff the last time we were on a show. We talked about Global Cup strategy, and then they changed the rules on us, and everything changed from a Global Cup perspective. So some interesting things, I guess we'll start with match day 1, since we obviously haven't been on here since then. People just, it goes to show the lack of effort and like abilities people have as Sorare managers. The most owned Dutch goaltender was not Noppert, despite Noppert being announced as the goaltender before lock of the tournament. The second most owned Dutch goaltender was also not Noppert, who was, again, announced before the tournament started. And then the amount of people that I just saw, and this is like, so as you and I talked about it beforehand, no one's going to win. Oh, so Josh said he is 250th overall. That's pretty fantastic, Josh. Josh, did you enter all of the private leagues you could find? Because I talked to you last night about it, Larry, and we talked about it before, but no one was realistically winning the Global Cup thing. Like, you just,
only one person wins.
Yeah, one person wins out of 500,000.
Right.
But all of the private leagues were realistically able, you could win those, because let's say there was 10,000 people in the private league. I think at least 80% of them, if not more, either don't know what they're doing or would have eliminated themselves due to making mistakes, which is pretty wild that that's the case. And then I also think that like another 10% would like eliminate themselves accidentally by making some mistakes within picking. So Josh said he's in 19 private leagues. Well, good luck to you, Josh. That is definitely something where you can win quite a few prizes from being in good private leagues. So hopefully you pull something down. But like, people got very lucky with Theo Hernandez, who's been the top defender in the tournament. But like the
bailout of all bailouts.
Like, he wasn't going to start, and like the amount of people that played Theo Hernandez were immense. There was a lot of people. I got called out on Twitter, so let me see if I can find the tweets, which I don't know.
20,000 lineups.
Did you catch me getting called out on Twitter in regards to Harry Kane?
Somebody claimed to think that Harry Kane was a good pick.
Yes. So SN Diz on Twitter, which if he's here, welcome. Appreciate you listening. But he was making fun of Harry trades for, did the lights just go out in the stadium? I think the lights just went out in the stadium, Laird.
It does look like it.
Yep. Oh, and they're back. That was pretty quick. So Harry Trades posted on Twitter how terrible his lineup was, which, to be fair, I said beforehand to Harry that his lineup was terrible. So luckily it was. Because he was arguing, he told me beforehand how like Joe Camille was like the best guy in the world, and like you got to have Joe Camille in your life. I'm like, no. So, anyways, SN Diz was like, he said, I'm doing worse because I listened to PSU for saying that Harry Kane wasn't good enough. And I will say that if you looked at the first match day and then you look at my forwards, Harry Kane would have factored in as dead last in my forwards. And the reason why I said he wasn't good enough was because there were people you could play that were better. And just because most forwards didn't beat Harry Kane didn't mean that he wasn't enough, because he wasn't. I told you beforehand, Laird, there were 4 forwards I thought were usable in the Global Cup. So 4 and 5 if you did one thing, and I'll tell you what the one thing was, and it would have worked also. So the first person that was usable was Messi. The second forward that was usable was Neymar. The third forward that was usable was Anton Griezmann.
Yep.
The fourth guy that was usable was Cody Gakpo. Those were the 4 guys that I thought were usable from the start of the Global Cup. The fifth was Mbappe if you played Griezmann and you just decide to stack France and hope that France went nuts. And it would have worked because they both have been fantastic during the tournament so far and have been good. But the issue with Harry Kane is I played Anton Griezmann for 16 points in match day 1. And Harry Kane was what, 21 or 22?
No, he wasn't that much.
He wasn't that much. How much was Harry Kane? If anyone has Harry
Messi
Kane,
was 21. So I bet Kane was like 18 or something like that.
If anyone has Harry Kane, let us know how much Harry Kane was. Or if anyone knows how much Harry Kane was, let us know how much Harry Kane was. But so, you know who scored multiple decisives in match day 1, Laird? Harry Kane. You know who scored 0 in match day 1? Anton Griezmann. You know who had a better score? Anton Griezmann. Which goes to say a lot. If you are a forward and you do not beat a guy that has no decisives despite having 2, it is detrimental to you. Like, it is a knock against you and like what you produce. But anyways, the discussion on Twitter was that Kane was good enough in match day 1. Yeah, that was against the worst team in their group. You have to play him in multiple other games. Let's check what Harry Kane did in match day 2, Laird. Because I'm going to guess it was not 80.2 points.
It certainly was not, but
we probably have to search him. I can just search up Kane while you're looking for this. So Harry Kane was able to put up 36 points against the United States.
Tim Ream, baby.
Last time I checked, 36 isn't cutting it on Sorare in the Global Cup in any format.
Yeah, he was the 4th most popular forward.
Yes, and like he was 4th most popular forward, and just doesn't matter. And so, the other argument was that like Harry Kane was the Golden Ball winner 4 years ago. I had to check to see how many points you get for being the Golden Ball winner 4 years.
Is it 0?
It was 0 was accurate, and that was my discussion with people. But I thought those were the guys that like you had to have at least one of them, if not 2 of them. But unfortunately, this was the argument and the discussion I had with people. You cannot have a guy not play all 3 group stage games. You also can't control like if they're going to play like France. France is going to rotate probably in match day 3. So will Kylian Mbappe start? I don't know. So like that was part of my hesitation with the Mbappe situation, or just like you can't really control who would start in match day 3, but you could control who would start like match day 1 and 2. But the whole idea is like if your guy gets injured, you lose. It doesn't matter. You're just going to be eliminated. So like the idea is just give yourself a chance. And like Neymar, like if you played Neymar, you had a chance, but like Neymar got injured, so now you have no chance. But you can't control that. You can't control an injury like that. So who did you end up going with, Laird? I know you made a weird decision in match day 1.
Yeah, so match day 1, I played a Qatari center back. I don't even remember what his name is, because I just assumed, or I expected, pure World Cup FIFA shenanigans in the first game, that they wouldn't let Ecuador score. And after Enner Valencia scored the first, and then they ruled it off for that offside because the cartoon told them that they were offside, I was like, this is a lock. Like this guy's going to rip 70 here. And then he did not rip 70.
So the question I have for you is, and I'm not even hating on who was your other defender, by the way?
Matty Cash.
Oh, so you just full on punted defender.
I did. I played Neymar and Messi.
Okay. So, okay. So my issue isn't that you played that guy. My question for you is, how did you play him but not play the Qatari goaltender as well?
It just felt wrong to play both. Like I didn't need to stack both of those. I wasn't sure how many shots Ecuador would end up taking, so I played Kasper Schmeichel, which turned out to be okay.
Yeah, I feel like there is some major logic flaws in this discussion by you, but that's
Not at
okay.
all. Not at all. I went with the higher clean sheet. I do feel like it was straight out of the Gator Guy 231 book.
100%.
Yeah. So
And I'm pretty sure I called you Keith on that day. I'm like, what did you do?
the result was correct,
Yes.
but only because the center back was so bad.
But
that was the line of thinking that I had, and so
do anything about that.
Right.
The other four guys that I mentioned have they've averaged like 80 points a game. I think like they've not failed. Like I think in all of their games so far, the other four have not failed one time. Because Griezmann succeeded both times, Messi succeeded both times, Mbappe succeeded both times, and Gakpo. So all four of the other guys have succeeded. The issue and the gap that has happened in the Sorare Global Cup, the major midfielders, the high-priced midfielders, have been a total train wreck.
Yeah, I mean, Gakpo's 64 with a decisive isn't that great.
It's not, but at least it's a decisive, right? Like he at least got 64, which is better than like 35. So like he at least got you something. Like obviously the best forward's Ben Griezmann. If you had Griezmann, he's the best forward. So the position that's been a letdown is midfield. Like the midfielder, the expensive midfielders that people were playing have just not produced. They just have not been good. That like the Modric, the De Bruyne's, the Kimmichs, they've all been failures. Like not even like those are guys that you thought there would be no real way for them to fully fail, and they failed.
Yeah, so like what's wild about this screen that we have up here, this is like the top, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16. I'll even cut it to 14 just to make my point look a little better. The top 14 midfielders by popularity in match week 2 combined for 1 decisive.
Yeah, which is wild because
And it was Di Maria of all of them.
Yeah, you're including the guys that are just super elite players that have super elite all arounds like De Bruyne, Kimmich, and Modric, and they just haven't.
Yep.
And then defenders have been very wonky. The defenders have not produced the high end guys that you would expect to be like the really smashing. Oh, Marquinhos is smashing today. I will say my lineups in like the Global Cup so far have been absolute turd boxes. Like they cannot be much worse. Like they are just terrible at every stage. But I have Marquinhos in the lineup. Oh, I have Marquinhos in my gas 3, and I have 1 decisive in that lineup, and that was a Piotr Zielinski goal, and he had 60 points.
Yeah, how about this defender who has 84 and 76?
Is that Hakimi?
I know
Hakimi's been good, yeah.
Hakimi's been awesome.
Yep, Hakimi's been really good in the tournament. But like the number one differential has been Theo Hernandez. But it's hilarious to see how owned Theo Hernandez is.
Yeah, so it's like not even a differential.
Yeah, before the turn, well, it is because like everyone's a differential. Realistically, like everyone's a differential. But like Theo Hernandez, like getting Theo Hernandez was so stupid to begin with. But like those are the people that are going to win the prizes in this are people that were stupid from day one and went with someone that was a really bad play. And it just that's how stuff works like this.
Yeah, I mean, we should say that he's probably a really good play if you knew he was going to play.
Yeah, which you knew he was.
We didn't, so that's why he was a bad play.
Correct. You knew he was not going to play.
Right. Right.
Jordi Alba's been really good as well. Connor just mentioned Jordi Alba. Jordi Alba's been very strong. The issue with Jordi Alba is I don't think Jordi Alba is going to play every game, but you don't need every game. You only needed to get through the group stage. You could not have a sit during the group stage. Because after the group stage, you can bring in all these reinforcements. It's not going to be difficult. You'll figure it out. It's nice to see Marquinhos with the pulse, though, because I sure haven't seen that with PSG in a long time. So
yeah, he's smacking.
I'm glad to see he's got a bit of a pulse here today. He should have a pretty good shot at hitting 100. So if he hits 100, I might get a tier 2 in gas 3, Laird.
Yeah, and I should say, unsurprisingly, we're now at halftime of the match, and it's scoreless.
It was a pretty uneventful half. The only real chance was that Vinicius Jr. chance that we had there.
Yep.
But Yeah, we'll see. I don't really have a chance to do well, unfortunately, but I was pretty confident that I would finish in like the top 5 to 10% of people, just because like I was pretty confident I would know how to set it up enough to at least like give myself a shot and like not be eliminated due to DNPs barring an injury. And I've done that thus far.
What custom series cards did you get?
I got a Romelu Lukaku. Let me pull it up here. I got to check this out.
That's
I
fun.
got a Romelu Lukaku, a Toby Alderweireld, a Alexander Jiku from Ghana, and a Rabiot. And I listed them all for like $20 and sold none of them. And
Still none of them.
I can't be bothered with it anymore. I mean, you know, like I think they're absolutely idiotic.
Let's see. So you got 2 bronzes and 2 silvers.
Literally don't even know what the difference is between them. Couldn't tell you. Have no clue.
It's the National Series at the top.
You know, I know that, but I literally don't know like how many are in each category or anything. I literally don't know or care. If anyone wants these cards, maybe I'll give this stuff away after the World Cup or something. Because like I think if I win like 30 of them, they'll be worth like $50 as a whole.
Maybe.
So actually, that's a good point. I think you were wrong and in this situation, because before they got released, didn't you think they would be worth more than what people were anticipating?
I don't think we knew at all what people were anticipating.
Oh, you got a USA guy. Look at, oh, you bought every USA guy. I forgot.
Yeah.
How much did it cost you? $150, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. It's a interesting concept that I don't care about. And I understand if
I think that's fair.
I'm not hating on it if other people care about it, because like cool. That if you care about it, it's all that matters. I just don't care about it.
Yeah. And I think that's the case with like any of these, like the sticker books during the World Cup. Yes. Like people collect them, they fill out the book, and there are plenty of people who don't. And so it doesn't matter. And what I find kind of funny is like how much Sorare are trying to make these cards different in some way, even though they're all the same. That like with this diamond and silver and bronze, and like they're the same card. Like when I was putting this thing together, I literally didn't care. The only reason I have some silvers is because they were the cheapest ones.
First of all,
that's it.
They look great.
I think they're cool looking.
They look cool, but yeah, I just don't care. Like you said before the tournament, like what do you do to make something collectible? You remove all utility from it, and then it's collectible.
Yeah,
I don't care. I just don't care about it at all. So maybe after the tournament, like I'll give some away. The only reason I'm not giving stuff away, like I'm not gonna sell it for like $1 right now because I don't care. But you never know what nonsense they're gonna do with them, and all of a sudden, like, hey, you can use them in something. Like we have a national series thingy mabobber that you can only use these cards from, and then it's like, all right, well, I mean, I wish I had them now.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever see like SO5 stuff with them.
Keyword think. You don't think.
Yeah, no. Well, my expectation is that they'll do more like the collect these and get this. And so like they did that with baseball. If you collected all the former MVPs, then you get a new MVP card, you know, whoever won MVP this year. And I think that's the right way to do it. But I've also like said like many times on either this show, is probably more with Andy, that like I actually don't like those types of things, those types of like competitions, if you even want to call them that, because it's literally just like, hey, buy this stuff to get this. Yeah. And there's no strategy in it. It's just like go spend more money to get it.
Yeah.
I didn't buy these USA ones with that idea that like they would come up with something. I just thought it would be
you
cool
wanted to have the USA ones because it's cool. Whatever. It didn't cost you much. The cost was very minimal. So like I get it.
What was kind of fun was when I got the last one and I got an alert on Sorare that said I'd reached an achievement, and it was like, you've collected your boyhood club. And I'm like, this is actually the closest thing to a boyhood club. Like I am an American and I collected the USA cards, as opposed to like, hey, your boyhood club, you've collected 12 cards from River Plate. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not here for that. But
yeah,
so
no,
that part
I think it just is what it is. Like, I mean, it's fine, whatever. I saw the one Messi one went for an ETH, which was wild to me. The one
the
of
Messi
2022 or whatever.
Yeah, so I was listening to Nellis's podcast with our friend Josh Forth from last week, So Far So Rare. If anybody doesn't listen to that, go listen to it. It's always excellent. And they were like, who knows what the prices are going to be for these cards because we just don't know. And then, yeah, that first one, a lot of them have sold.
I figured there would be a few cards like I figured people might care about Messi. They might care about Mbappe. Like the highest end people might care about.
Yeah.
That was sort of what I thought.
Wow, we can even sort by diamond. Yeah, but like 2 ETH for that.
That's crazy to me. But
the
hey,
one went. What does the one go for? What do you get here? Bolat, Suarez, Malin. That's a weird deal.
That's not much considering 2.5 ETH for. Maybe the guy got it and just like I'll get whatever I can get because I don't think I'm gonna get anything for it. And then then he probably saw it and was like, "Oh man, that was a mistake."
Right. Like, so actually, that was one of the things that John and Josh talked about. They were like, if it's a new person and they're just like coming into Sorare and they win this card and somebody's like, hey, I'll give you $50 for that. And they're like, awesome. And then you find out later it's worth like $3,000.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I just like, I get it. It's fine. I don't personally care at all. Like at all. Like if I get money for it, cool. If I don't, like they'll just sit there in my gallery and is what it is. So we'll see. I don't understand it. Like I don't get the whole thing. Like, I'm not here to collect. I've never been here to collect. Halftime sub, we are going to see Lucas Paqueta come off for
Rodrigo.
So go a little bit more offensive here for Brazil, trying to get a win out of this game. So yeah, like I get it. I mean, you're winning something that you wouldn't otherwise win. So I mean, whatever.
Yeah, I think they're cool. I'm very curious to see what the market looks like once the World Cup ends. Meaning, like, does it literally just completely dry up? Nobody cares, or do they continue? Is there this like niche part of Sorare, which is an amazing thing to even consider because Sorare itself is so niche of people who just kind of like these and trade them and whatever.
It's definitely possible. I mean, you could, if you know that's going to cost you $150 to do per team, you might think, oh man, this is a really cool thing I can do over the course of the next year, collect all 32 teams, every player. And it's going to cost me like $150 times 32 teams. And
no, it's not 32 because they don't have it's only, I think they have 16.
So yeah, so you want to buy all 16 teams, and like it's not going to cost you that much money hypothetically. If you want to do that, you can do it. So we'll see. We'll see if someone does that. I mean, I do agree. It's pretty cool that that's even a discussion instead of just like, no, this is stupid as shit. Like that's cool that like it is a discussion of, and that's what I said. Like I don't know. It doesn't matter what I think or what you think. It matters what every individual person thinks themselves. Like if people think this is cool and that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Like that's awesome to know that some people like really enjoy that and some people want to do stuff like that.
Yeah, like not everyone on the platform needs to think that these are valuable and wants to buy them.
Yeah,
you only need a handful of people.
Yeah,
we learned that with Legends. The Legends market is still fairly liquid, and yet
I actually won a Diego Maradona Argentina card.
Ooh, that's fun.
Do you want to guess what I sold it for?
Rare.
0.2. 0.375.
Wow.
Like 2 weeks ago. I think it's my last sale I made. Let me go to my gallery. I think that was the last sale of any kind I made.
Huh.
Let's see.
Forward card, I assume?
I honestly don't even know. I didn't even it was actually only 3 days ago. I sold it 3 days ago for 0.375. Diego Maradona Argentina card. Let's see if it's a forward card because I don't know. It is a forward card, I believe. I don't even know what team he played for at the time. So 85-86 season. let's see, who did he play for at that time? Because maybe this card was better than I thought it was because I just didn't even look at it. 85, 86, he was at Napoli. So
I was gonna
actually,
say I would just assume Napoli. Yeah,
it's a better card than I expected. Well, I knew the one was Argentinos Junior, which is useless because their forwards are terrible.
Well, I mean, so you get a Napoli forward.
You get Napoli forward, so that's an okay card. And it's not that good though, because Kvaratskhelia is a midfielder.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
So you get Osimhen. You literally get Osimhen.
Right.
So it's a really shit card actually. Unless they eventually change Kvaratskhelia to a mid.
I don't know why I thought they were changing it to a forward.
Because
he was a forward, and then the cards came out and they went back to midfielder.
My favorite, here's a good DFS thing for you, by the way, which you'll laugh at. Vinny Jr. is a midfielder.
On DraftKings?
On DraftKings. Not a combo, not a mid forward. He's a straight midfielder.
Just straight mid?
Oh, straight mid. Silly. Yep. I saw that. I was like, yikes, that is pathetic.
Huh.
I agree, Laird. That was my take exactly on this. The dogs don't like it either, as you can hear. They're wild and not happy about it.
Yeah, that's one of those things that I don't miss at all. So
no, just seeing dumb stuff is like, so like, for example, here's a good one. Like yesterday, Roman Sai's goal was credited on every site except DraftKings for like an hour and a half from the Morocco game. And it was like a massive differential for people. So you send the email complaining to support and you get we're going to match up to what everyone else has. And it's like, you're not doing that.
You're not doing that? Yeah.
You're not doing that. That's why I'm telling you, because I want that changed. And then they eventually changed it like 2 hours later.
Huh.
Like it didn't get changed, Laird, until like the second half of the Germany game. That's how long it took for them to change it. And it was changed on like SorareData, SofaScore, FanDuel.
I think we Opta, so it's weird that.
Yeah, that's why it made no sense because everyone has the same. Everyone uses Opta. The only other platform that you can use is Stats, and no one uses Stats.com. I don't even know if it exists anymore because it used to be used by DraftKings, and it was so bad they had to get rid of it.
Stats owns Opta now.
Oh, they merged?
Yeah.
Okay. They merged though after they changed to Opta.
Correct.
Yeah. So it was Stats, then it became Opta.
Stats was really, really bad.
Yeah, Stats was. Do you remember the Faguli disaster of like a decade ago?
I do.
That cost me so much money.
Everyone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because he was like a match chalk play, but like I had like the nuts that day, except for like I had the nuts.
The Alvin Jones situation was definitely Opta though.
What?
Alvin Jones. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, Alvin versus Jovan Jones.
Yeah, that was an Opta one though. That wasn't.
That was sad. All around sad.
Wasn't expecting to see a big Cheetos ad on the sideline boards here at the World Cup.
I haven't seen it. I was expecting to see some Sorare ads because because they at least have some national team stuff. So I thought they had some sort of deal worked out with FIFA, but I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, I don't think they have anything with FIFA. And
actually, I guess that makes sense because it would have been called like the World Cup on Sorare had they had something with FIFA
instead of having to rename it Global Cup.
Correct. Which, to be fair, like that's fine. You got to do what you got to do there.
Yep.
Like it's pretty straightforward how you have to approach that. So I that's just a workaround you have to do on stuff.
It's crazy how good this Brazil team is. I say this as they're still scoreless without Neymar.
They've looked good in this game. They've definitely been the better team in this game, in my opinion.
One big chance, 2 shots on target. Fred gets a yellow. Unlucky.
I thought Fred was going to be coming off at half when they brought
So did I. Yeah, I was surprised to see Paquetá go off. I don't know what to make of this Switzerland team either. They're just like a bunch of guys, it feels like.
Yeah.
But I guess it's not like they have a ton of guys on the bench that are difference makers other than Shaqiri, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah, guys. Yeah, I don't know. Is there how much? Because I know that we talked previously Wow, great play.
Close.
But before the World Cup, that we weren't doing anything to like build lineups for the World Cup. Given the size of your gallery, have you had like regular lineups that were
Yes,
okay?
I can tell you what I've had. So here's the thing that we said, because I want to make this clear, because Gator Guy was giving me some shit for it too. Because we were not going to buy cards 2 months out without having a clue what Sorare was going to do. That's what we weren't going to do. I was willing to buy cards if it made sense, like once the World Cup started. And for me, my cards are good enough that it made sense for me to, like, if I needed to plug a goalie, to buy a goalie, because my lineups were typically good enough. So the one thing I did was I bought a Livakovic rare.
Yeah, I remember
Because
that.
I have good lineups that, like, I didn't have the goaltenders with. Like, my goalies were like shambles. They're like shamble goalies. So I have 14 lineups right now. I have All-Star Limited, All-Star Rare, All-Star Rare Pro, All-Star Super Rare, but they're not like to full function. They're like I'm running rares in All-Star Super Rare.
Sure.
International Special Limited, International Special Rare, International Special Super Rare, U23 Limited, U23 Rare, U23 Rare Pro, U23 Super Rare, Underdog Limited, Underdog Rare, Underdog Super Rare. But of those like 14 or 15 lineups, like 5 of them are like legit lineups. Like 5 of like the rare pro super rares, 5 of them are like legit. The other like 12 aren't legit, and then like the limited ones are legit. But like, I'm playing a bunch of guys who I'm not necessarily expecting to play in stuff. Like my Underdog Super Rare, I didn't expect to be live. My Underdog Rare, I did, but it was trash. My Underdog Limited, same thing. Underdog or U23 Super, I didn't expect it to be valid at all. U23 Rare Pro, I expected to be valid. U23 Rare, I would expect to be valid. But like, when I say valid, I mean like they could be valid. They just had massive issues.
Yeah.
Like I had Enzo Fernandez, Julian Alvarez, and Timber. So it's like they could start or they could not. My international super rare was somewhat legit, except for I had to play Depay and hope that he would sub on score. My international rare was legit. My all-star super rare was like a turd box, but like it was, most people should play. My all-star rare pro was legit, and my all-star rare was legit. So like 5 or so were like legit lineups that like 2 or 3 were legit, no question, they're good lineups. Then like 2 or 3 were like, this could get enough starters and everyone could be okay and it's legit. And then like the rest were just like, I'm just going to plug people. Maybe they'll play or maybe they won't.
Yeah.
How many of you had, or do you not have a goalie?
I basically had nothing. And
Okay.
I will say that one of the tricky things that I had with this World Cup is that for some reason.
Oh, what a ball. Oh, so close.
Is that Richarlison? Oh,
Yeah.
man.
It would have been Charleston. It was Minnie that sent it in. So
Yeah,
close.
that would have been a very sexy goal.
Yeah, it would have been.
Is that I think I not mistakenly, but I think it was poor judgment that I put my cards that are going to play in like rare international, whatever it's called,
Yeah.
instead of just all-star.
And just try to get your
I should have
threshold.
just gotten my ETH and yeah.
Yeah. The issue is, so like I was talking to Gator Guy about it, and it's like it's tough because there's just not that many people that are going to play that are like cost effective. Actually, what's funny, you know how I have so many lineups? Because Gonda is the goalie for Japan. I have a super rare and a rare of Gonda. So like that bought me. By the way, his error like yesterday was ridiculous.
Yeah,
my lineups are terrible. It doesn't matter. Actually, is he in my all-star rare pro lineup? If he is, then it might actually matter because of what Marquinhos is doing. So let me check that real quick. No, Livakovic was in there. So like it didn't matter. Like my lineups don't matter anyways. He's terrible, but like that air led to goal was awful. Like I don't understand how that was an air led to goal by on him.
Agreed.
But like I was really hopeful they would get through the group stage, because if they got through the group stage, that could be very important for me to at least have lineups in the round of 16. And then like if they somehow made it to the round of 8, which if they win that game yesterday, they would have won their group. It would have been realistic to have happen. It could have been important. All right, we got Bruno Guimaraes coming on for your boy Fred. So Fred is leaving. I don't. That's another that's the one question for Brazil for me is why has Guimaraes not been starting?
Yeah,
he's just too good, I think, not to play right now.
And he's had an awesome season. It's not like you
Yeah.
can blame it on form.
The issue is though, is just everyone is too good, right? Everyone on Brazil is
too Fred good. Too good.
Yeah. Well, Fred's typically okay for the Brazil national team.
That's fair. You can pull Fred up. I don't know why I think just searching Fred would give me.
It's hard because someone like that's hard because you just aren't gonna find him easily.
Who does he play for? Is he still at United?
I think. I said you and I have laughed about this. You and I both watch so much less Premier League than we ever have.
I don't watch it at all.
Yeah, because we just don't care about it that much.
No. Give me the Jupiler League all day.
Mm-hmm. Facts. I mean, you've even attended a Jupiler League game in person. Oh no, you didn't. Never mind. It was a Euro
Conference League.
Yeah.
Against a Premier League team, actually.
There you go. I mean, the only Man U games I watch are when they're in the Europa League.
Yeah.
That's it. Or the conference.
I don't need to see them playing Bournemouth. I want to see them play whoever, Olympiacos or whoever the hell they play.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't know how you start Fred over Bruno.
It is difficult.
But I'm not the manager, so
that is valid.
You think we see a goal in this game?
It's possible.
Oh, Alex Sandro's smashing now.
Times.
Alex Sandro with a triple-double.
Just can't quite get it. I mean, Switzerland have had very minimal chances, but it wouldn't be shocking if they ended up with a chance. I imagine they're gonna bring in Shaqiri last 20 of the game too. This is what I thought the USA should have done, right?
Yeah, it's exactly what they should have done.
Oh, they got shot here. They probably made the wrong decisions there. Probably should have went wide on the one pass.
Yep.
But yeah, you should have brought in. You should have treated this as the game against England. You bring in your Pulisic at 70 and Reina at 70. That was another thing. They brought in Reina and Aronson at 82 minutes.
It was just not enough time.
Yeah, what kind of impact are you really going to have in 7 minutes of game time? Oh, another topic during this. So I like it. So I'm going to start out by saying I like it. I actually like this change. The amount of stoppage time that we've seen in games has actually been relatively accurate instead of, it's 3 minutes no matter what. But because of that, we've seen 15-minute second half stoppages. And there's been times where I'm it's going to be 3 or 4, where I legit thought it was going to be 3 or 4, and it was 15. But I would much rather see the actually accurate stoppage time number than there's been 8 subs, 4 goals, 3 long injuries, 3 minutes. I don't like that. I like to see the amount. So what's your thoughts been on that?
So I don't think we even realized what was happening, because it wasn't the first time we really saw it was the Saudi Arabia game, and I
realized it game 2. I realized that was something that happened because I was listening to the commentators and I was damn, there's a lot of stoppage time in this game. I can't believe it. And then I was listening to the commentators when it popped up. And it was that second game, whatever the second game was. So it was the Netherlands game? No. Whoever the first game was, first 8 a.m. game on day 1. I forget who it was. The announcers said that it was a point that was made of the organizers and of FIFA that we were going to make sure to have the proper amount of stoppage time. And it was a talking point that they told to the refs.
Yeah, you're right. It is Netherlands.
Okay, yeah. So that Netherlands game, I think the second half had 13 minutes of stoppage time, and I was expecting 3.
Well, we first noticed it though in that England game because they had the injury, and so it was really long.
The England game was the first game that day.
Yeah. So the injury to the goalie was really long, and I was all right, that makes sense that it's 15 or whatever it was. And then then the Netherlands game there was 12, and on your
No, it was the England game. The first half of the England game, the Iran goalie was down for a long time. So the first half stoppage was long. I'm all right, this is long, but that makes sense. But the second half stoppage, it was 15 minutes, and I thought it should be 3.
Right.
And then as soon as that happened, I think Landon Donovan was calling the game, and Landon Donovan said that this was a talking point by FIFA to the officials that if there is a stoppages in play, you hold the clock and you save for stoppage time. And as soon as he said that, I was like, that makes sense because I have never seen this in my life.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I love it. I really do.
Yep.
Just more.
I hate when you
more
get
football.
when you get like 2 minutes of stoppage time when you're looking and you're like, this dude was on the ground for like 8 minutes. How is there 2 minutes of stoppage time?
Yeah.
Also, like another thing, most teams will make subs after the 90 minutes and in stoppage, and they'll especially elongate their injuries. They have added that. Like, so if there's 14 minutes stoppage, they turn in 20 because teams are like cramping up and stuff at the end of the game. So
yeah, I do
I'm
wonder if
because I hate that more than like anything. Like I hate it.
Do you think we're going to see fewer teams doing that, like subbing late or rolling around hurt because knowing that they're going to extend it? Or do you think this is just a World Cup thing and they'll go back to the domestic leagues and it'll be back to 3 minutes?
I think they're still going to do it because there's no downfall to do it. Oh, here we go. Vinny Jr. Yeah, there it is.
He's so good.
Big Vinny gets, I thought he was going to screw that up. That looked
Me
like
too.
he botched that hard.
1-0 Brazil.
That's the guy you wanted to sit for the World Cup to play Paqueta at like an inverted winger. That would have made no sense. So here's the thing, right? There's no downside for them to do it because if they do it and they just add time, so be it. They just add time. If they do it and they don't add time, that's what they want out of it already.
Yeah. No, I think like I have plenty of friends who are not into football at all, and that the clock thing drives them nuts.
Yes.
And so
it drives most people that I know that do not enjoy soccer, that is one of their most heavy complaints is the clock and the we've seen like nothing, and this is for me too. I hate it. Watching people will go to the corner flag and stand there, drives me bonkers. Like
there's a great ball by Casemiro to set this goal up
because you sometimes will see it for like 15 minutes. Like team will go to the corner flag at the 75-minute mark and just sit there for the next 15 minutes. And it's absolutely awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Casemiro is a GOAT. The question I have is it offsides? Because at the beginning of the play, Richarlison came back and touched the ball or made a play on it. And I couldn't tell if he was offsides. I didn't pay attention to the first replay. Also, I don't understand how some of these things take so long. Some of these VAR situations, like I've seen stuff where it's like, dude, the dude's an offsides by like a mile. The offsides.
Richarlison.
Unfortunate. And we're back to 0-0, everyone.
Killer.
We thought we were going to get a goal there, but we did not.
That's a bummer. Nice finish. Nice ball from Casemiro.
Yep.
Nobody's even mentioned Richarlison until a VAR review.
No, we've mentioned Richarlison a couple times. He barely missed
Chani. No, I meant on that play. Chani's celebrating now because that Vinicius goal would have hurt him in U23.
Where is Chani in U23?
There's always somebody on the other side.
There is. That is true.
Everybody with Jan Sommer now happy he's back at 75 instead of 38 or whatever he was at.
I'll tell you what, scores needed for U23 in this World Cup, which I knew this was going to be the case going into it. Like you do not need high scores to get stuff in U23 right now. Like Chani's on like
a reminder that you only have 4 players anyway.
Yeah, you only have 4 players, but like there are just so few guys that are playing that are like locked in starters and that are going to put up good scores. Like there just is not very many options.
Yep. Chani said he's 20th.
He is.
That's
I
fun.
checked it. Can confirm that Chani is 20th. Marquinhos is on 81, Laird.
Yeah. He's behind Alexandro, though.
He is. That is true. The Brazilian defenders are really eating in this game. Yeah, literally. So I went to go make my lineups earlier today, and I decided I couldn't make them because I don't know if Diogo Costa is going to be playing today. Because I was like, I can't make my lineups because I will have one less lineup if Diego Costa is not starting. So I'm like, I pretty much need to wait and see if he's starting before I can just make a decision here.
Starting today guarantees he starts the third?
No, starting today makes it more likely he starts the third. If he doesn't start today, you would imagine he's out and he's done for the tournament. Unless, like, obviously Rui Patricio did some equally terrible things as what he did.
He didn't.
So Chani just said Saliba is rumored to start France's third game. That makes sense. I think France is going to do some weird things in the third game. I don't know exactly what they're going to do. Yeah, so Hand Goddess said that VR is not happening or taking a ridiculous amount of time. That was offsides by like 10 feet, and we had it took like 2 minutes.
I hate that rule though, that like he was basically like not really involved in the play that led to the goal.
No, he was. He had to be involved when he was involved, not to like the extent of like making the pass or anything, but he was involved in the play.
Got a nice free kick opportunity here that Neymar will not take.
I wonder who takes this, because you need a right footer on, and Rafinha's a lefty. Because I think you want to do an in swing and just hit it harder.
Yeah. Fred? Oh no, he's off. It probably would have been. Oh no, Fred. Yeah, he came.
They have Rodrigo as a right footer standing over, but it looks like Rafinha is going to take it, which is kind of weird because this is definitely a right-footed free kick.
Or Rodrigo is standing over it. That's weird.
He doesn't look like he's going to take it though. It looks like Rafinha is more interested in it. They might cut this back to the top of the box.
It's wide open. This is fun.
Like, does not look like Rodriguez taking it, does it?
No, as he ties his shoe.
Yeah.
Boot.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like that's got to be right-footed set piece. And you guys just drive that low and load to the far post and hope you get a flick on.
That was just a weird opportunity there. Jeez. Rodrigo just tackled. Oh man. Brazil's got chances here.
They have.
So Alexandre on his way to 100 without a decisive. I guess he has a clean sheet. Marquinhos as well. And then Jan Sommer is the third highest scoring player in this game.
I think that would make Jan Sommer the best goalie in the tournament so far. I think that's back-to-back clean sheets, and both have been pretty good from a scoring perspective.
Yeah, I wonder did Andy end up buying him or no? He was going to make his Switzerland stack and then didn't. Oh, he's got him. There we go.
He's getting the threshold, thanks to
locked in that threshold thanks to an Olivier Giroud captain.
There you go. To be fair, he didn't even get captain wrong by that much. My favorite part of this, I don't know do you know the story of Keith with his World Cup plan with goalie?
No.
Oh, you're gonna love this then. So Gator guy, for those unaware, was like all about buying people for the World Cup. I'm like, he's so stupid. And he was like bragging about how good his team was. And I'm like, oh, I must be missing Messi in your lineup and like Neymar and all these guys. And his lineup's not bad. Like, he has good players in lineup. He probably is winning a reward. I'm like, your lineup is good enough. You're going to get rewards, but your lineup's not that good. And he was like acting like his lineup was like as good as what people are running. I'm like, well, here's my lineup. I have Messi, Neymar, Kimmich. How's your lineup? And he's like, oh yeah, I don't have them. But like, yeah, so like as you see here, he's getting it.
That's pretty good.
So anyways, this is how it starts. It started like, we're talking a 3-month process here, Larry. It's long ago. So Gator guy decided 3 months ago. Actually, it's going to start longer than 3 months ago. So I'm going to just like start at the beginning. So Gator guy, our buddy, he has like a Sven Van Beek super rare. So I'm like, you should get a Bosnowitz and then buy Noppert, because like you should get, like, it makes sense, like, to have Noppert. So he did it and he ran it for like 2 weeks. Then he's like, I don't know if that's good enough. So I'm going to get, he's like, I really want to have a goaltender that's going to start the World Cup. So I'm going to sell Noppert and bring in Pasveer. So he bought Noppert.
Which at the time made perfect sense.
No, it didn't make sense. But like, it was realistic that Pasveer would start.
That's what I mean.
It didn't make sense because at the time, so the funny thing is the person I told him to buy was Dominic Livakovic. So Keith buys Pasveer. As we're going on, obviously, as you know, Pasveer has been absolutely abysmal for like Ajax over the last like 3 months. He can't keep a clean sheet. Terrible. he's like, oh, all right, I just can't do this. I can't watch him not get clean sheets anymore, and I'm not sure he's going to start the World Cup. So he's like, I'm going to buy Chillison. So he's like, I'm going to go buy Chillison. And I'm like, I don't understand why you keep buying guys that are not locked in starters at the World Cup if your goal is to buy a goalie that's locked in at the World Cup. So he buys Jasper Chillison, who I think he still owns. So as we get closer to the World Cup, he's sitting there like excited, expecting Chillison to be the starting goaltender at the World Cup. Doesn't even make the squad. Noppert starts. And then he decides that he needs to go buy a goalie, and he's looking at the goaltenders to go buy. And I'm like, just buy Livakovic. The same thing I said 3 months prior. And so he went and bought Livakovic. But it was hilarious because the entire sequence started like literally in August when he had Noppert and just sold Noppert to try to get the Dutch starting goaltender for the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, nobody knew Noppert was the starter.
Yeah, like nothing. But I was just laughing hysterically at how the entire thing transitioned and transpired.
So Brazil now in the 73rd minute, 4th minute, whenever that sub was, brought on Anthony and Gabby Jesus. I completely missed who came off, though.
Yeah, we haven't seen it yet. That's why, Laird. It hasn't happened on the TV.
They actually haven't made this up? No, they made this up.
It's coming at this stoppage right now.
Oh.
I don't think they made it yet. I think it's coming at this stoppage. We just
gotcha.
SorareData's too good. Maybe we did miss it. I don't know. Maybe we did miss it. I didn't see who came up.
Yeah, Richarlison was one who came off.
Charlie came off. And did Rafinha come off? No, they dropped Rafinha into like the mid. No, Rafinha. I think
Rafinha. Yeah.
And Anthony came on. At least Vinny Jr. is staying in the game. He's been good. He's been their best player. I think he's been their best attacking player. Like Marquinhos has been really good, I think. Yeah. Did you see that Allison wasn't going to possibly start this game because he had flu-like symptoms?
Yeah, I did see that. There were two others who did too. I can't remember who they were, though. They weren't nearly as important.
Yeah, I don't remember who they were either.
Still no Shaqiri? Oh, Danilo. He was the other one.
Yeah. Well, Danilo, didn't he get injured? I think Danilo was the injury, and that's what caused Adair to start at the right fullback spot, left fullback spot, wherever he's at.
Yep. 2 more Swiss subs. Still no Shaqiri.
Did you see the USA press conference today and the questions that were being asked?
No.
Oh man, Laird, you should have checked it out. They basically like turned it into an entire political thing. And people like the one question to Berhalter was, why, or is Jurgen Klinsmann waging psychological warfare on the Iranian team? And then it was an Iranian journalist apparently asked Berhalter why he hasn't asked the U.S. government to remove a naval ship from Iran. Those were the questions asked at the press conference. Then like Tyler Adams was there, and they asked like how it felt to support a country that like has as many school shootings as it has and stuff like that. Those are the questions like asked at the press conference today for the Iran game.
Productive.
I was like, holy, what a press conference that was.
This guy can't even get his subs right, and we're asking him about that.
Literally nothing was about
the World Cup.
The World Cup at all.
Great. So we've had, knock on wood, no injuries. I think we've had one card. We've had a few subs. What's your extra time prediction right now?
Stoppage? We haven't really seen that much. I'd say 5 minutes as of right now.
Excuse me. Yeah. 5 seems about right. So if 5 seems right, is it 13?
No, it's came down in my opinion, as the last like few days have happened, it's came down.
We've
had more like, we haven't had like 3, but we've had like 5 and 6 instead of like 14.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Rafinha, Richarlison confirmed off.
No Shaq. I wonder if Shaq's carrying an injury or something. I don't know.
What's that?
I wonder if Shaqiri is like carrying an injury or something.
No way. Shaqiri possibly injured?
I don't know if he is. I'm not sure. I was expecting him to be one of the subs on. They haven't made it, but they do still have one window left and one sub, so like he could come in.
Yeah. Yeah, he could. I'm not sure he's.
So what is your expectations for the USA Iran game on tomorrow?
2-0 USA.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I think the biggest question is who starts up top.
I think it might be Ferreira.
And well, he's the last one to try to go. Like, they've started the other two.
Yeah.
But is that the right call?
Yeah, Ferreira should have been starting all the games, in my opinion. He's the most dynamic player that can get in behind and give us what we need. Haji just doesn't do it. He's not giving the defensive work rate that you need, and he just doesn't do it for me.
Do you think that's better than some sort of false nine situation?
See it save it said Shaq picked up a thigh injury, and that's why he didn't start. So that's interesting to know.
Shocking.
Yeah, it's truly shocking. I wonder if he is fit enough to give some minutes here at the end of the game. So we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. You start Ferreira. I think you start the other alternative. You start Way at striker. Apparently, they've been training Way at striker, and if you start Way at striker, you can run someone else at the right wing position.
Yeah, Aronson or
Gio. It should be. I guess it doesn't really matter. Both of them are good options. Like, I don't have an issue with either of them. Like, you know what the USA is going to do in 10 spots tomorrow. You know the USA is starting Pulisic, Weah. They're not starting Weah. Weah has been really good.
Yeah.
They're starting all three of the center mids that have been starting every game. They're starting all four defenders and turn that have been playing every game. So the question is, who starts in that last spot, which could be striker or right wing.
Yeah.
And there's 6 guys for one spot, effectively. Because it's like, I think it's 4 guys for one spot, because I'm pretty confident they are not going to play Haji. I'm pretty confident Haji Wright's not starting.
Yeah, I would assume that.
It leaves you with Sargent, Ferreira, if you're running him a striker, or if you run Way at striker, it's Reyna, Aronson.
I don't know how you justify Sargent over Ferreira or Weah.
I don't know how you justified it the first 2 games, but they've done it the first 2 games. So
has he played a second? He hasn't, right?
Ferreira hasn't subbed on both games, and it was Sargent into Haji, and then Haji into Sargent.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're going to see anything different. Like, in terms of like what I do think we're going to see something different. I don't know. I don't think they start, but I think Sargent can start. I thought Sargent was okay in the first game. I just think we get a lot more out of Ferreira.
Agreed.
I want to know whose Cheerios Ferreira pissed in, because he was our best forward in all of the qualifying process. And then he was good all season for Dallas as well. And like, I can't imagine they're like decided to save him for this game. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Is that Bruno with a shot on goal?
I didn't see who came in. I think so. It was Anthony on the set.
On the set, side. Yeah. Nice corner.
Yeah, it was a good corner. It caused some difficulties there. Oh, that's another USA thing. Set piece delivery has been abysmal. It's been so bad. We had like one good set piece last game before, like, that's it. We've had one good set piece the entire tournament so far.
Pulisic's corners got much better as the England game went on.
They did.
But I still don't know why he takes them. But then I was like, I couldn't think of who else should take them.
The issue is the 2 guys that could take, well, the one guy that could take them would be Reyna, and Reyna's not in.
Right.
And then like the other guys like Acosta's obviously not going to play.
He's awful.
He's not going to start. Acosta's not going to start.
No.
So like Acosta can't take him from the jump, but like Pulisic have been terrible.
Like, yeah, for the most part, they've been pretty bad.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I will say that the U.S., assuming they win tomorrow and could advance, they will draw either the Netherlands, Ecuador, or Senegal. Oh, what a goal! What a goal!
Who is that? Casemiro.
What a bang. What a rip.
I think we're going to count that one.
Fired up.
That was fun.
What a rip. That was a great side volley.
You know what's funny is that it took him like 12 games to finally start for Manchester United.
Yeah, wild. Wild to me. Wow, what a great finish that was. I don't know if there's an assist on it. Yeah, there is.
It looked like it might have. Oh no, there was.
There was definitely an assist. I don't know who was there. It could have been Rodrigo.
Right off the defender.
I couldn't see who dropped. Oh, right off his butt.
Yeah.
Right off the
Rodrigo got the assist.
I was going to say, I thought it might be Rodrigo.
Bang.
Interesting. But yeah,
Like
USA set piece situation, woof. Like, it is ugly. It's like, set pieces are so important in like a tournament like this too.
Yeah.
Like, getting a goal off a set is so important. And it's not even like we're not even threatening. Like, we haven't even been close.
That's what made me get even angrier about the South Korea game this morning for us at least. Like, set pieces are so important, and then just not let them finish one.
No, not even like we're not even like threatening them. So, anyways, so if USA wins, I think there is a very winnable game in the round of 16, and then we would likely play France and get eliminated.
So, what were the three? Ecuador, Netherlands, and who?
And Senegal. Most likely not Senegal, though. It's most likely one of the other two. Netherlands would have to draw for us to get Senegal against Qatar, which I don't see that happening. But hey, we've seen weirder things.
Sure.
Like, I expect Qatar to play as good as they possibly can tomorrow because they want to get a result before they leave the tournament. Like,
before they never play in the World Cup again?
I don't think they will never play again, mainly because I think there's a lot of funding behind it. And there's also, with the expansion to 48 teams, a lot more teams are going to get.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
If it was 32, I would be concerned. But like, the thing is, Laird, is like, they are not bad in the region that they are in.
Yeah.
Like, they are not the best, but they are not the worst either.
Didn't they win the Asia, whatever they call it?
I think they got to the finals, and like, that's a legit competition where they're playing, everyone's playing their main teams. Like, everyone takes that serious over there.
Yeah. Although I did see today that Russia are considering leaving UEFA to go to the Asian, whatever federation.
To be honest, it makes
theoretically takes a spot there.
It makes sense. Like, they're pretty much there anyways. Blue Tomato said they won against Japan in the final. So like, Qatar's not that bad. They're just also not that good. But like, that most of the teams in that confederation are not going to be the best. Like, with the expansion, like it definitely can play.
Yeah. Alexandro off now for
Alex sighting.
What do you know? Surely Switzerland scores now, right? Alexandro leaves on a 92.3. Clean sheet locked in for him.
I don't know if Swiss are going to score. They haven't really shown any indication they're going to get it.
They just made another non-Shaqiri sub, so it sounds like he's
that's it for them. They're out of subs unless there's a concussion.
Vidmer, right?
So that, like, if to be fair, they can get through anyways. So yeah, the USA would be would play one of those teams if they get through.
Ooh. Is that Rodrigo?
We'll have to see if the USA can get through. I don't know. Everyone, like, so don't get me wrong. Let me put it this way, right? If you told me before the tournament started, before the England game the other day, that England game did not really matter that much, and you get through with a win against Iran, you take that every time, right?
Say it again.
If I told you before the tournament started that that the game against England did not matter if you lost, you could lose that game, and you get to the knockouts with a win against Iran, you take that every time, right?
Every time.
And that's like, I do too. Like, I would just take that. Like, if you just go into it and you're like, you have one game to win against Iran or go home. you're probably like, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm in. Totally.
As
Yeah.
an American fan, you're signing me up.
In Greg, we trust.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I don't trust him. But yes. So I think that we're in, as obviously we could have been in a better spot. Like if we beat Wales, if we beat Wales, I think we beat England, because I think we play a similar game, except for we go for it a bit more, and we probably come away with a result. Not to mention, like, we'd still be in a position where a draw against Iran sends us through. So like that definitely is unfortunate. We didn't get a win against Wales when we should have. But if you can't beat Iran, you don't deserve to be in the tournament anyways.
You said that before, and I was just like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
absolutely right.
Like, it's the same thing with any team. Like, it's not like us being Iran. It's like, if you are a team in the tournament and you cannot win a game in the knockout stage, you do not belong in the tournament.
Yeah.
Like, whoever you are playing, you should be able to win. Like Netherlands, if they cannot beat Qatar, they do not belong in the tournament. Like, if you are any team in the tournament, you cannot beat anyone, you don't belong there. Which, you don't belong in the knockout stage. You belong there, you don't belong in the knockout stage. So like, USA plays Iran. If you can't beat Iran, you don't belong in the tournament, because you couldn't beat Wales and you couldn't beat England. So if you can't beat those teams, then you can't beat anyone else. You're not going to beat France. You're not going to beat Croatia. Like, those teams are all pretty good teams as well.
Sure.
So like, but I also, like, I heard way too many people saying like USA is way better than Iran. They're going to win that game. Iran's way better than people give them credit for. People are just bashing Iran after the first game when they got smashed by England. Like, that game was kind of fluky. They were not that bad against England.
They weren't that bad.
They started to lose by 4 goals and give up 6.
Yeah.
And they proved it. Like, they were the better team against Wales for sure. They had a better game.
I think Wales is actually much worse than people thought.
Yes, I agree with that. Wales was the worst team in the group by far. It wasn't close. Yeah. Like, Iran, the thing is, like, and this is why I don't understand how people are like, oh, USA is going to advance, blah, blah, blah. Iran was better in their game against Wales than USA was.
For sure.
Granted, USA was better in their game against England than Iran was too. But, like, it's definitely not a clear-cut situation where you're like, oh, Iran's going to get eliminated. Like, no, Iran's a good team. Iran has quite a bit of talent there as well.
Yep.
And, like, I just think a lot of people are ignoring that.
Yeah, somebody in chat said that Taremi was going to score one, but I think you forget that we have Tim Ream.
We do have Tim Ream. Lockdown Premier League defender Tim Ream.
That's right. I got to check out some Fulham futures after this.
Oh, God. I mean, Pep said if he was 25 and not 35, he would have signed him by now.
Yeah. We've got 6 minutes of stoppage time here.
That's what I would expect. So, like, in the Premier League, this is 3 minutes. Like, we would have 3 minutes right now. Do you agree?
Yeah.
No one's been injured. There's been no injuries. There's been 1 goal. There's been subs. This would be 3 minutes.
So
and 6 is more accurate because there was. Oh, they had that one. We had that VAR situation too.
Yeah.
So, like, 6 minutes here to me feels very fair.
I agree. Connor's saying that Iran have Champions League forwards in Taremi and Azmoun, and Europa League with Jahan Bash and Ali G.
USA have Champions League winners in Christian Pulisic. So
that's it. So take that.
So, I mean, I feel like
McKennie was in the Champions League for a little bit this year.
Actually, here's a better question. The United States has Champions League forwards sitting on the bench in Gio Reyna. Can't even get in the team.
Can't even get in the team.
we also have Champions League defenders that can't get on the field in Cameron Carter-Vickers. So, like,
that's right.
USA just has loads of Champions League players just not even able to get into the squad.
And we've got, do we even have any CONCACAF Champions League? Well, Jordan Morris, he won the Champions League.
He did, yeah. Another Champions League winner, Jordan Morris.
Not sniffing the field.
We also have Champions League midfielders. Weston McKennie was in the Champions League.
That's what I mean, yeah. This year.
They might suck, but they were in the Champions League. We also have a Europa League goalie.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
He actually plays there.
Who actually plays, yeah.
Yeah. We have another Champions League defender in Dest.
Mm-hmm. who's played for some elite clubs, or at least has been employed by them.
True. So like we're just all, and then we just have like we're all over Leeds. Uh-oh, right. Chani, here comes a break for Vinny. This does not look good for Chani. Oh, he botched it. Chani is sitting over there, very happy at that pathetic 2-on-1 counter from Vinny.
Like that almost, I think that should be considered a big chance missed. Lay the ball off, make a move.
The big chance misses I have issues with are like the corner that the guy like has a header from like 10 yards and they give him a big chance miss when he's like a fadeaway header. And then also one where like dude dribbles by 18 people and like beats everyone on the team and then like puts a perfect shot and the goalie makes a save and it's like big chance miss.
Big chance. I do hate that. Yeah.
It's like, what about big chance created by himself by having, oh, what a goal that was still. That was such a rocket. I have Casemiro in a lineup, Laird.
There you go.
He's in my, actually, you know what, Laird? I needed that goal to hit the threshy.
Ooh. Or Rich.
Actually, no. Maybe I didn't. Maybe that was before the, oh, what a touch. Oh, Chani gets bailed out again. Chani's sitting over there. So I needed the goal, Laird. I'm at, Diogo Costa does start, Laird.
Ooh.
I'm at 251.56 points with Diogo Costa. So I need Costa to not
be Diogo Costa.
And I will get the big threshy.
No, we got a little bit of the corner flag situation here. Oh, they got out quickly.
Yeah, Brazil's not wasting time. Brazil's trying to score third.
Second.
Well, technically third, but the one got VAR. Right. Third in their hearts.
Marquinhos up to 85.
Oh, what a dummy.
Woo. He's so fun. Vinicius.
So this was another reason why I kind of wanted to wait and see this game, Laird, because I have a Vinny, and there's been some dumb talk about him not starting.
Yeah.
And so, like, I wanted, like, if Vinny got subbed and, like, yanked at, like, 60.
Just have a Rabona cross? I think he did.
Was. And wasn't very impactful. Like, I would have been worried about Vinny starting, and it might, like, change where I put him in my lineups.
Yeah, it's a total opposite now. He's their best player.
Yeah. But now, and then here's another situation. Now they are through, I believe.
Yes, they won the group.
They won the group with this game. So they will, I don't know who they will play. But actually, that brings up another good point. I have an Anthony super rare. Anthony might start the next game.
Yeah, he might. For sure.
I got to look at it to make sure they've locked up the group.
I think it said it on the broadcast before that the winner of this game wins the group.
Well, it's goal differential. So they haven't technically won the group because Switzerland could win next game. Brazil could lose. And then Brazil could or Switzerland can make up goal differential. So and technically they haven't won the group, but it would be difficult for them not to win the group.
You're telling me that they lied to me?
And based on what I've been told the tiebreaker is by looking at stuff and by other people, the tiebreaker is goal differential. So with Switzerland on 3 points, that means they could get to 6 next game. And if Brazil lost, they're at 6. And if they make up goal differential, they would be ahead. Why that's the tiebreaker and it's not
head-to-head.
Head-to-heads, I don't know.
Yeah.
There it is, Laird. That's a wrap.
Ahead of time. 95:54 on the clock.
You did. He called.
I paid for 6 minutes.
You did.
And I got 5:54. That's outrageous. They're just stealing football from us today, Sean.
They are.
This is just outrageous. All right. With that, we may as well say goodbye. Thank you to everybody who has joined us live. We are at a record here, 1 hour, 53 minutes and change for a SorareData strategy
not having a show, Laird.
What's that?
So we made up for you not wanting to have a show last week.
That's right. You got 2 for the price of 1 this week. So thank you to everybody for joining us. If you guys could please hit the like button on the video, that's always really helpful. Hopefully everyone who is listening to this got enough. I feel like there wasn't much on the screen anyway, so it's just us talking. So hopefully it was an enjoyable podcast. If it was, if you could please rate and review the podcast wherever you listen, that's always really helpful. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and you get alerted when we have new videos. I'll be back later this week with Andy for Sorare Andrews. The SorareData NBA show is also this week, so definitely check that out if you're into the National Basketball Association. And Sean and I will be back next week for another strategy show. So thank you to everyone, and good luck this week.